feeling better, it affects your mindset, which also affects your energy levels. And I've always believed that if you just do 1% improvement each week, in a year, you're 52% improved. In 2 years, you're 100% changed. That is the reason why Apple still exists while so many computer companies have gone in the past.
Mark Talukdar is a former software engineer turned business and mindset coach. Born in India and educated in the USA, he found success in the IT sector, but faced health challenges from a sedentary lifestyle. At 37, becoming a father inspired him to prioritize his health, leading to a transformative journey. In just 1 year, Mark reversed his health issues and won his first bodybuilding competition. His story of resilience and personal growth aims to inspire others to achieve their own goals.
Mark, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me here, Brad.
My pleasure. So if there was one message you'd like people to take away from this session, what might it be?
Don't believe in labels. Labels that you have put on yourself and labels that others have forced upon you. My entire life has been led a certain way because of certain labels I put on myself and certain labels I allowed others to put on me. And it took me a very long time to realize that I don't have to live that way. And the day I made the decision, my life has changed completely.
Love that so much. I've spent a lot of time in my own life trying to bypass our tendency to label everything. You know, you're walking through nature. That's a tree. It's a label for the tree. And we try and categorize it and define it. And there's so much freedom in just getting rid of that and just being completely present to what things are, who people are. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think the desire to label ourselves or label others is because we then sort of know where we belong.
Yeah.
You know, the rose belongs in the rose bush. Why is the rose with this lotus flowers? It makes no sense. So the tendency to label ourselves is just an act of comfort so that we know what group we belong to. But then we forget, what if we mislabel ourselves? Because there isn't a flower book that specifically states this is what a rose looks like. There is no book that states this is what Mark should be. This is who Brad should be. It's all assumptions that we have made based on experiences. And in my life, in my story, and with some that I know, there has been a lot of mislabeling. But we are lucky, those of us, we catch that and we can change the entire trajectory of our lives. Well, what about those who can't?
So perhaps you could share a little bit about your story, where you're from, where you are now, what you do.
Originally from Calcutta, India, I moved to the United States when I was 18 years old to go to school. You know, when you grow up in an Indian family, you only have two professions. You're either a doctor or an engineer. There's nothing else. I picked engineering, computer engineering specifically. So I went to school. I have a bachelor's in computer science and mathematics, information systems minor. I'd have a master's in information technology, graduated college, got a job as a developer.
This episode is brought to you by Start With Values. If you'd like to reduce stress and increase fulfillment in your work and life, then check out startwithvalues.com. There, you'll be able to download the Values app, which helps you to discover your core values and bring them to life through micro habits. There is a values course so that you can learn about the science and practice of core values, and you'll be able to pre-register for my forthcoming book called Start With Values. I hope that these tools will enable you to achieve more fulfillment and make more meaningful decisions on your journey of life. Now back to the episode.
And for those of us, and I can't speak for everybody, but for some of us who grew up in the math and sciences, we spend so much time learning the math and the sciences. We don't have enough time developing those communication skills. And I just proudly, I say, grew up as a nerd, as a stereotypical nerd, dug in the books, sat in the first seat, answered all the questions, took the test, but I was just always incapable of building relationships. I was always a shy kid, the introvert kid. And, you know, I longed to be that version of me. Who doesn't want to be a cool kid? Who doesn't want to go into an office party and be the center of attraction, right? I was always the guy in the corner with a wine glass, just like hoping nobody ever talks to me. But I graduated college. I got my job as a developer. I worked my way up. And at some point I realized that, you know, I have some big holes in my life, in my personality. And I just didn't want to live that way. And I wanted to try. You know, I've always been somebody who would rather try and fail than not to just believe something and just continue with that belief. So I was married at the time, and I came home from work one day and I told my wife, I think I want to get into sales. And she was like, what are you talking about? Like sales? Like, yeah, honey, I love you, but you don't know anything about sales or talking to people. I said, I want to try. So I quit my six-figure job and I just got into sales to understand what it is. And I was miserable. I was miserable because I didn't belong. I don't know if you've ever been in a room where you just truly don't belong there. I was so miserable. I used to drive to work with a pencil in between my mouth because I watched a YouTube video that said it will fool you into making you think you're happy, you know? But I never quit, and I rose through the ranks and I joined different organizations, learning different things. And by the end of my 5-year transformation, I was 1% in the company, nationwide. Number one in my division and 1% of the company nationwide. My transformation was complete. This version that I had become was unrecognizable to students I went to school with. So I became a professional consultant because now I was a full package. I had the engineering building skills, but I also had the leadership skills and the sales and marketing skills. I moved to New York City. I became a professional consultant for Fortune 100, 500 clients, loved it. And then all of a sudden I had a realization and I thought, there are so many people out there who are exactly at the same place now that I was a few years ago, who have some talent, who have some product, who have some idea, but they don't have the courage or the bravery or the skills, or they're afraid of sales or they're afraid of marketing, because these are all cuss words. And those of us who don't grow up in that world don't know how to do it. So I kind of wanted to help myself in the past. And so I started my company. I quit my high six-figure job again and started from scratch, started my company, became a business coach specifically for tech people and solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. I have clients who are nurses and pianists and dog trainers, those who have a passion and a talent. They just don't know how to get started. That's how I became a business coach. But, those were all my achievements professionally. Physically, I was obese. I was at 41% body fat, and I had sleep apnea, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I couldn't breathe at night. My son was born in 2022, my first son. And when he was born, the first time in my life, I thought, wow, I'll never be able to play with him. I'll never be able to get on the ground and roughhouse with him like my dad did. I might not even be around by the time he goes to college or gets married or whatever. What am I going to do with all this money when I don't have the health? Because, there's a famous quote that says, a healthy man has 1,000 wishes and a dying man only has one. Like an unhealthy one only has one, which is to not die. So that, again, I embarked on a different transformation this time. And I said, I'm going to get fit. I'm going to get ripped, but I need a specific goal. So I'm going to enter bodybuilding competition. So I started a 2-year journey of fitness. I went from a 41% body fat to a 7.9% body fat.
Wow.
I won my first competition. I won my second competition. And now I'm a nationally qualified athlete who's going to compete at nationals on December 12th, 2024 in Irving, Texas. So these are the two major transformations. It's kind of ties to the labels, right? The label that I'm fat and I'll never be fit, and the label that I'm an introvert and I can never be somebody who can have genuine relationships and be good at communication. So that's my story.
What an incredible journey. So what role does mindset play in supporting these transformations? Do you start with the goal and say, okay, I'm working towards that? And then the big question is, well, how do you sustain that change? So what are some of the tools you used on those journeys of transformation?
It starts with a goal, but one's goal is a direct reflection of your mindset, right? If you are someone who has small victories lined up day after day, you believe you can go after a medium victory. You have a bunch of medium victories day after day. You believe you can crush a big goal. So the mindset that I had obtained during the beginning, by the time I was starting each transformation, was one that was founded upon small and medium successes, right? That's why it was able for me to take such a bold step and say, I'm going to quit a 6-figure job and just be a salesman, full commission, no pay. I'm going to go from 41% body fat to a bodybuilder, not just lose 5 pounds. So it starts with mindset. It starts with goal, which is fed by mindset, and then discipline and work ethic and planning. How you do anything is how you do everything. So when we want to achieve something, you don't have to be like, I have to be good at this and good at this and good at this and good at this. How am I going to ever do that? That's not the question. You just have to learn how to be good at one thing. You just have to learn how to achieve a type of goal. And once you have that, you can apply that to everywhere else. And that's where the mindset comes into play, right?
Mm. And so what was your process? So for example, I just love the fact that instead of saying, I'm going to lose 40 kilograms or whatever else it might be, it's kind of, I'm going to compete in bodybuilding competitions. Now that's a goal that I don't know for everyone else who's listening in, but that's the kind of goal that really inspires you because you can visualize yourself on a stage. You have to get there. There's no other choice but to make the steps. Whereas if you just have a loose goal of I'm going to be fit one day, I mean, it's way too vague to actually stimulate real action. So what was the process? Discipline is obviously a really important part of this, but how do you transform yourself? Or any tips?
The way I've always done is just get started and just keep doing it. Just don't stop. It all started. I was literally at a dog park with my dog. I have 4 dogs, and there's a dog park right here. And this guy walked into the dog park. I've never seen this guy. This guy looked like the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
And here I am feeling so fat that day. I was just having a very fat day. And I just saw this guy, and I just went up to him and I said, you look like someone who works out. Do you know any trainers? And he looked me up and down and he said, I know 1 or 2. And he gave me the number of 1 and I got started. And when I got started, I would love to tell you that I was motivated and this and that. No, it's none of that. I hated it. Mm-hmm. But my goal, because I've done similar things before, I just got to show up. And the guy I am paying is holding me accountable because he's waiting for me. I'm not rude. I'm not going to just not show up. Yeah. So I would just show up for an hour, 3 days a week, and move weight around. I didn't know what I was doing, but all I had to do was just show up 3 days a week. Mm-hmm. And then soon that became 4 days a week. And then soon that was like, man, I am so sore from working out, but how come I'm not losing any weight? Well, because you just had like a triple cheeseburger yesterday. Okay, well, I guess I got to eat like a little bit better, So as you continue doing it, your mind is like, well, I'm putting in all this work. I might as well get some benefit out of it, right? And then all of a sudden you have a little bit more energy. And all of a sudden you're looking at videos about diet. And you're asking your trainer about why this, why not that. It's just 1% improvement. And I've always believed that if you just do 1% improvement each week, in a year, you're 52% improved. In 2 years, you're 100% changed, which is exactly how long it took me. So that's the process. You just keep doing it, be obsessed with it, and results are inevitable. It will absolutely happen. You just got to follow the process.
Did you measure your progress closely, or did you just focus on the activity?
Every single day I measure. What doesn't get tracked doesn't get accomplished. What does not get tracked does not get accomplished. If you are in debt and you want to get out of debt, you need to check your bank statement every single day to see where the credit cards are getting swiped, right? Oh. Yeah. If you are in debt and you check your bank statement once a month, you're like, I don't even know where the money went, right? So I bought myself a scale that is a $20 scale that weighs you and gives your body fat percentage and bone density and all of those things. These things are not very accurate, but it's consistently inaccurate. So there's accuracy in the bias that there is, right? So every single morning, I wake up in the morning, I weigh myself. Before I go to bed, I weigh myself. So I have numbers. I'm tracking. And then you start thinking, yesterday I had this, today I had that, tomorrow I have this. All of a sudden you are like, I used to be a heavy drinker. And I just found like, why am I doing that? I'm working out so much. Maybe I just cut out a couple beers here and there. Weight drops. I feel better. It just continues building, right?
Where did you develop this kind of work ethic? Is it something that your parents kind of modeled or championed, or did you just discover that in order to succeed, you had to adopt these mindsets of, persistence and breaking things down and measuring progress?
If I'm being 100% honest with you, Brad, I'm lazy. I am just so lazy, I don't want to do anything twice. I don't have the patience to try this weight loss thing for 5 years at a 1 pound a week loss. Oh my God. I just don't have it. I would much rather focus my energy, get it done, and I'm there. So I would love to tell you that, oh, I'm motivated in this and I was raised this way. I really wasn't.
Yeah.
I know I want something and I just want to get there as quickly as I can. And because I want to get there as quickly as I can, I'm focused on optimization, right? There are certain tools or skill sets I have or knowledges I have. I know when you want something real, you don't DIY it. You hire somebody who knows it, right? So when I realized that I needed this transformation, I wasn't going to sit on YouTube and watch videos to understand how to lose weight and build muscle. Because let's face it, today eggs are good, tomorrow they're bad. Today vegan diet is the best diet, and tomorrow keto is the best diet. And that just adds to frustration. So I knew I want this. I don't have the time or the knowledge to do this on my own. I got to hire somebody who knows what they're doing. They will tell me what to do, and then it's up to me to do it. I can control what I am doing. I don't have to worry about the knowledge. Because let's face it, all the knowledge we have, it came from some other source, a teacher, a book, something. So why is it that we're adults now and all of a sudden we don't need any teacher? We just do everything ourselves. It makes no sense, right? So it's just that. So I want to optimize it. I don't want to spend all this time figuring things out. I want the fastest result, the quickest results. And that's it. Like, I'm drinking. Every time I drink, I get on the scale. I'm like, wow, man, I had lost 4 pounds and now I gained 3 pounds back. Optimization. Well, just stop drinking. Okay. It wasn't because I was, I don't want to drink anymore because I'm a strong man now. No, it was just like, I'm doing all this work and I'm not seeing the result. This is in my path. Just cut it out. Same happened with sugars. Same happened with fats. Then all of a sudden you plateau and you're like, what's going on? Well, you got to move a little bit more. Okay, you got a smartwatch and I'm going to walk 10,000 steps. It's a non-negotiable. By midnight, I got to walk 10,000 steps. It's 11:02. My wife was like, what are you doing? You're pacing back and forth in the living room. I'm like, I got to get to 10,000 steps. Then I was like, pacing back in the living room is quite inefficient, because you got to take turns. Just buy a treadmill. Bought like a cheap treadmill and put it in the garage. Now I can get to 10,000 steps in an hour. So there are all these things. I'm not motivated. I'm lazy. And I'm proud of that. Because I am lazy, I optimize. I want to get there as fast as I can. I guess if I was too patient, I would never get there.
Very interesting. I've not thought about it from that perspective. Lazy people really should fast track their progress. Otherwise, you've got to drag it out for years, which is just a horrible feeling. And I also like that you're not saying go full on David Goggins, because for someone who's just getting started on their fitness journey, that's going to be overwhelming and you'll give up. It's really about showing up, doing the work, and gradually optimizing as you go, because you will start to feel better as you progress.
100%. And honestly, like, I've never met David. I've read his book. I think he provides incredible value.
Yeah.
But it's not for everybody.
No.
I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I got 4 dogs. I got a job. I got a family I got to take care of. I don't have the time to go and run 62 miles. There's some famous David Goggins story where it's like his ankle broke and he just duct taped it. That's a great story of courage and valor.
Yeah.
I can't do that because then who's going to take care of my 1.5-year-old son? Because my wife also works. There are problems in real life for real people, but our heroes and our role models are so out there. I honestly believe they do more damage than good because it makes us feel like we can never do that. Yeah. And I felt that. I could never be like David Goggins. He's a god. I'm a mere mortal. So what? I don't have a shot at losing some weight? No. So we look at these whole heroes, whether it be fitness, whether it be business, whether it be anybody. You look at somebody like Mark Cuban, who got his $1 billion exit, at what age? 25. And you're like, man, I'm already 37. I guess I'm never going to make it. No, those are anomalies, and that's wonderful. But just because they did it a certain way doesn't mean that I can never do it this way.
Mm-hmm. Very true. Very true. How much did your physical fitness contribute to your evolution from introvert to extrovert? Was it connected somehow, or were they separate journeys?
They were separate journeys, but definitely when you start feeling better, it affects your mindset, which also affects your energy levels. So in terms of specific skill sets that I had to acquire to make the transition from being a shy introverted person to an outgoing person, those skills weren't inherently created during this process, perhaps enhanced because of the energy levels.
You mentioned sales. Now, most people have to be a salesperson in some respect. You've got to sell yourself, even if you're within an organization. And sales has a bad reputation. People think of sleazy salespeople, blah, blah, blah. But sales can also be a really magical way of connecting people with services that they might not know about or don't know that they need just yet. Any tips for, and many entrepreneurs listen to this podcast, so I know that sales is high on their list, and they often have specialized in a specific area, whether it's tech or some kind of product or something. How can we get better at selling is the question.
So my program is based just on this. It's called the Authentic Selling Accelerator, because to my knowledge, nobody teaches sales the way I do. Again, it's because I am unique and different. So when I would watch these other salespeople pulling all these gimmicks, doing all these shim-shams, whatever, I just couldn't do it. Just like David Goggins, I just cannot do that. So I had to find a way as an average, normal, common person with my values and my ethics and my type of personality to be able to make sales, right? And obviously, this is a topic for multiple hours, but the number one core principle that I teach is 100% genuine honesty, because it is so rare in today's world that it's worth its value in gold. We live in a world where we literally tell people whatever they want to hear to sell whatever we need to sell them. People have an internal BS tracker. And when I started messaging, when I was trying to figure it out, I just couldn't do what they were doing. The schmoozing and the smooth talking and this and that. And a lot of things were also happening in sales. In sales world, it happens. I'm not saying this happens everywhere. There's a lot of lying that's happening. There's a lot of games that are being played. There's neurolinguistic programming, NLP stuff that is happening that these are good tools that people are using to manipulate people. And I just didn't want to be that person. I was still a husband and a guy, with certain belief systems. So my way of approaching sales is having an authentic, genuine, deep level conversation with somebody to understand the driving force behind what they want. You want to lose weight. Why? Because I want to be fit. Why? Because I want to look good. Why? Because I want to go and do a 5K. Why? You ask those deep questions and all of a sudden you realize, because I want to play with my son. Okay, now we have something. Now the person is like, well, I don't want to buy this program. Okay. How are you going to achieve that goal of wanting to be playing with your son? It resonates with people at a different level because you're really getting to the core of it, the inside of it. But it's also about honesty. In life, we respect people who tell us the truth, no matter how harsh the truth is. We respect people because nobody tells us the truth. Do I look good, honey? Sure. Because we are afraid to say, don't know. Am I going to pay for it now by saying no, or later when you look at the photos and say, how come you didn't say that I look fat or whatever, right? We as human beings, especially in today's society, in social media, and all the gimmicks that are put out there, we have a core thirst. I call it like a dry, parched earth of clients who are just being lied to, who are showered upon by these beautiful lies and images that are not true. So the way we teach sales and the way we approach sales is truly get to understand the person. And here's the best part. Not everybody can do it. We teach sales without a script. There is no script. We teach you how to have an authentic conversation. Because I'm not going to memorize question and be like, after question number 4 was like asking him how his son is. By the way, how is your son? Oh, wait, you told me 6 minutes ago you have a daughter. I'm so sorry, I forgot. It just makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right. So not everybody can do it, because in order to do this, sales this way, you actually have to care about somebody.
Yes.
You actually have to care about their problems. And it's not just a job, it's a mission. So I work with solopreneurs and entrepreneurs because, their product is their baby. So it's easy, but it's very hard for somebody for who it's job and just a paycheck.
I love the foundation of care. And I work for an organization and I sell, right? But people say, well, how do you keep selling without a sales process? And it's just that I don't try and sell. I just actually try and connect with people, find out who they are. No, but I would do it even if I didn't have a product to sell. I mean, look what I do in my spare time. I run a podcast because I'm just so interested in hearing people's stories. And I think that's probably the key. I never thought of it in that sense, but if you really do care about someone, you don't need all of the gimmicks.
You absolutely don't. There's more than one way to achieve solutions. And that's, you asked me at the beginning of the podcast, what is the one thing you would want to know? I said labels. And this is probably the second thing. There's more than one way to achieve solutions. And the gurus will tell you that, no, there isn't. In order to get fit, you got to run 62 miles. Right? It's not true. In order to do sales, you got to just learn all this shady stuff and just throw all your ethics away. It's not true. Just don't believe everything you hear.
Exactly.
Listen to yourself, follow that internal compass, be relentless, and be a little lazy. You'll optimize it. You'll get there faster.
Be a little relentless. That's a good quote. I like that a lot. That's the name of a book at some point. I'm sure it's nice. How do you achieve a level of work-life balance? So you've got 4 dogs, you've got a child, a wife, you're coaching people, and you've got a busy career for yourself and bodybuilding. I mean, how do you achieve a level of balance? How do you prioritize?
Time management and energy management. Understanding, there are certain calls I do with my own team for my own business. I do it from the treadmill. I have a call at 5:15 a.m. every morning. That means I got to be on the treadmill in front of the camera at 5:15 a.m., which is great because the calls hold me accountable for the treadmill. And the treadmill allows me to be in motion and not like dying at 5:15 a.m. So that's an example of time management and energy management. As entrepreneurs, we're working all the time. It's just what it is because we're obsessed with it. Marrying the right person, setting the right expectation is very, very key. Instead of having to convince a spouse, they support you by default. So that's something that I've been just gotten lucky at. I don't deserve the woman I've married, so I can't take credit for that. But that helps a lot. And then just honestly, at the beginning of the week on a Sunday, I will sit down and I'll map out my entire week as to what I'm doing. I will have some gaps in the day where I can fill in certain things ad hoc. But for the most part, like I knew yesterday what I was working on. Yesterday was an open day for me. So it's certain tasks that I do on the open day. Today is a calls day for me. It's just call after call after call after call. It's like a little bit pockets of time that I can fill in. Tomorrow, again, is an open day for me. So I design my week a certain way. Saturdays and Sundays are family time, but guess what? My children, all my dogs and my baby and my wife like to sleep in because it's the weekend. Well, that's fantastic, honey. Sleep in. I got between the hours of 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. to get stuff done, right? Because by the time everybody's waking up and, I'm ready to go. So I've done work and I'm there. So it's a lot of moving things around. But if you're passionate about something, you find the time.
It's a good advice to batch similar tasks or tasks that are complementary, like having a meeting while on the treadmill. I mean, you're winning. why would you be sitting at a desk if you can be moving? Optimizing.
100%. And, there are certain meetings that cannot be done at the treadmill, and there are certain meetings that can. So it's our understanding of which one can it be. And then, it becomes wonderful. All of a sudden you get on a call and somebody on your team is also walking. You never asked them to walk. And they're like, I just feel good looking at you walking. And I'm just sitting here. I got to do something. And then all of a sudden you're inspiring these little changes in people around you that you never intended to. And then you create a community of people who are supporting each other. Right? So when you're trying to lose weight, one of the ways we expend calories is called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. For those, it's basically the amount of calories we're burning doing regular things. Like I am burning calories right now, moving my hands and talking to you. Right? So you can imagine if somebody has a sedentary lifestyle like us, where most of our time is sitting, our NEAT number is quite low. Mm-hmm. So when you're trying to get to really low body fat, you got to keep the NEAT high.
Okay.
All of that I'm saying to say is there are a lot of calls I do standing because it's a higher NEAT, and then I'll get on a call with the client and the client is also standing. Why are you standing? I never asked you to stand. I don't know. Let's do it. Okay, great. So, you find partners in little things without wanting to or wanting to, mm-hmm. that kind of helps you do things simultaneously. And you don't have to go to the treadmill for 3 hours in the evening and take time away from your wife and kids because you understand the science of fat loss and you understand I can achieve that just through NEAT, A
lot of people wouldn't think. I remember watching an Andrew Huberman episode where he was talking about people who fidget naturally lose more fat. So a very simple tool, hack, if you can call it that, is NEAT. Fidget more. Yeah, that's it.
That is an example of NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. If you're moving around, walking around, so there is BMR, basal metabolic rate, the number of calories your body is burning just being alive. You lay on the bed and you don't move. Their body's burning some calories. There is EAT, exercise activity thermogenesis. Calories you burn working out. That's actively working out. There is NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Everything in life that we're doing, walking, getting a glass of water, all of that. And then finally, there is TEF, thermogenic effect of food. Certain foods burn more calories than others. So when you understand the science of fat loss, you realize that 70% of the calories are burning calories controlled by NEAT and BMR. Only 20% is exercise. But what do we do when we want to lose fat? We go to the gym.
Yeah.
A really heavy duty strength training session, maybe 200 calories you burned. Maybe. That's nothing. That's like half a Big Mac, So you could skip the gym. Like up until January of this year when I started my prep, the year and a half, I only went to the gym 4 times a week. That was it. And my entire time I lost 80 pounds and went from 41 to 8% body fat. People want to believe that I lived in the gym. And people look at me and say, how did you do it? And I tell them, because I'm lazy. I don't want to go to the gym in the evening and every single day. I just figured out the science of it and now have made my day in a way where I can do multiple things at the same time.
For someone who wants to improve their physique, what are your top tips? I mean, I know that there are so many different perspectives on this, but just from someone who's actually done it, because a lot of the fitness influencers have often been fit from teenager, this is what they do. Whereas for many people, it's a real journey and it's a real investment. So to lose body fat, anything else that you would recommend? Cardio, the balance between strength, cardio, any tips for those who want to follow in your footsteps?
Absolutely. Before I give tactical steps, I will say you first got to know what you want. What does it mean to be fit? A runner is fit. A CrossFitter is fit.
Yeah.
A power lifter is fit. A soccer player is fit. 4 different looks. What does a runner look like? Very different than a bodybuilder. Very different than a CrossFitter, right? So when we say, I want to be fit, there's endless number of choices, paths to take. But if you're running and you want to look like a bodybuilder, not going to happen. Right? So first figure out, what do I want to look like? Okay, I want to look good. What does that mean? Well, I want to look like a model. Okay. Now we are a little specific. We know what that means. It means toned, not huge muscles, right? Lean. Okay, now we know. So now we have to create an exercise and a diet plan that attains that. Like I said, if you want to be a bodybuilder, don't go running, right? You're not. So what happens? You reduce the number of choices, which reduces the confusion because there's so much confusion. After that, that will dictate what you eat, how much you eat, and how you train. So that is nuanced based on whatever path you're taking. After that, the basic principles are quite the same. Calories in, calories out. Mm-hmm. It's the law of thermodynamics. There's going to be a lot of people, I see it all the time, they want to make it magical voodoo science. It's not. There is only one way the human body gets calories. It's through here. We start controlling what goes in here. We start controlling calories in. Then the 4 things that I said, you understand the science of it. You understand how calories are burned. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now you have to be in a calorie deficit to be able to lose fat. 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat. If you're in a 500 calorie deficit for a week, you have lost 1 pound. I've lost 80 pounds, right? Now, it's impossible to lose fat and not lose muscle. It is going to happen. Just like it's impossible to gain muscle and not gain fat. So you will see a lot of bodybuilders in off season are bulking. They look fat because they're trying to put on muscle, which means they will get fat. So if your goal is like mine, when you're trying to lose fat, you need to preserve as much muscle as you can, because inevitably, as you're losing fat, you're going to lose muscle, which means that's where strength training comes into play. You strength train and you eat the proper amount of protein to preserve as much muscle as you can. Cardio, fasted cardio is the best. If you have the ability to do 30 minutes of fasted cardio in the morning, that's incredibly good. Keep your NEAT up. And I do that by simply having a watch that tracks my step. If I have 10,000 steps in a day, I moved around enough, right? That's all I did. I just told you the path that I took from a 41% body fat to a 7.9% body fat. That's it. Now do it consistently.
Yeah. I love it. Very, very clear and practical. Doesn't have to be anything extreme. It's just those small steps in the right direction. What was it like becoming involved in the bodybuilding community? It seems quite intimidating from the outside. Like, what are these guys like? Are they super intense? In my own interactions with bodybuilders, some of the coolest, friendliest, nicest people you've ever met. What's your experience?
You know, in any discipline, the real champions will never look down upon you because they are struggling too every single day in their own journey. Sure, they might look better than me, but they have a goal that's much higher than me, and they're struggling to get there. In life, I've always seen the only people who are like very quick to jump on a conclusion and criticize you are people who, I hate to say it this way, have truly never achieved anything themselves, right? So when I got introduced to bodybuilding and I go to a hardcore bodybuilding gym, Metroflex, it's a brand that Ronnie Coleman used to go to. There is no AC in Texas. You know, it's a hardcore gym. It is very intimidating, but it's a family. It's a family of supportive individuals that you just won't believe because they are also on their journey. Everybody's helping each other. Everybody's trying to get you better because they know exactly what you're going through. They know what it feels like when you come on a Tuesday morning after a leg workout on a Monday and you're walking like, you know, like something's wrong with you, right? Yeah. But funnily, you know, the people who criticize are my friends and cousins who have a beer in one hand and a cheeseburger in one hand and said, is it really healthy to eat this less calories? Bro, you look pregnant. What are you telling me? You know? So So it's that. It's intimidating from the outside, but just like I said, before, labels are labels. There's a labels on bodybuilders as well. They didn't choose to have that label put on them. They was put on them by people who don't know anything. So I have to give others a chance because I want others to give me a chance. I too used to be a certain type of a person, and I used to be perceived by a certain type of person, and nobody ever gave me a chance. So I now live my life in a way that if somebody thinks intimidating or not, I'm going to give it a shot, and I'm going to find out for myself. I've never been disappointed.
Do you have a specific recommendation for people who want to just fact check their labels? Because we all have them, as you said, and as we progress through life, we grab hold of other labels, whether it's a job title or what someone else told me I am. I'm a dad. So that's a label, but it's a label I like. It's a label that I cherish. It's important to me to be a good dad. Meditation, introspection, psychedelics, any thoughts on how people can just reflect on what are these labels that I'm carrying around?
So I'm sure you've heard a lot of these answers, so I'm going to give you an answer that I don't think you've ever heard that I've actually used in my life.
Great.
It's called acting. You play the role. You think I'm in a movie. When an actor shows up on a set, that day in the morning, they could have had a fight with their wife. On the way there was a car wreck. There was a paparazzi following them. Very stressful. Very stressful. They're angry. They showed up on set, and it's the role of a calm Buddhist monk. Well, they got to put all that aside, whatever happened, and they now have to get onto the role of a calm Buddhist monk just for an hour to shoot the scene. So what I used to do is, okay, I'm in this environment of work or family or this or that, and I am considered shy. Everybody treats me like I am shy. Okay, I'm an actor, and I would go to a different city, and you go to a different restaurant or a bar where nobody knows you, and action, right? And say, 15-minute shot of me in a movie. What would it look like if I was playing the role of an extrovert? And just try it, and you see how it feels.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel dumb, right? And sometimes, because we have habits. Like if I go up to a bar and somebody's sitting there, maybe naturally I would never say hi because I'm afraid. Because that's me. But now I'm playing a role. I'm not Mark, I'm Clark, right? I'm playing the role, and in this role, the actor goes up and says hello. So I would go and say, hey, how you doing? Good. Where you from? Blah, blah. Okay. I'm panicking inside me. And maybe that's the only 2 lines I can say. I exit. How did that feel? Can I say a 3rd line? Can I say a 4th line? We can never change labels without proof. It does not matter how much positive self-talk you have, how much affirmations you have. Those are all things that we are saying to ourselves, but we don't believe in them. I believed that I was shy. I believed that I was fat. There is only one way to change those labels. It is through action, but action is so incredibly hard to take because it's so scary, right? And it's almost like you have to announce to the world that, hey, I am now getting into this new journey, which creates pressure. No, just play a 15-minute scene. It's a 15-minute scene. What would that look like? It's a 15-minute scene of a fat guy walking into a gym and wanting to get fit. That involves me getting into the car, driving to the gym, getting a membership, walking around, looking around, and coming out. I'm freaking out. But I did it.
Yeah.
And now the next scene is you go and do 5 reps. You think of your life in terms of a movie. And somehow it's easier. Because we also have a perception of ourselves, right? You think you know you. I think I know me. And sometimes when we're engaging in activities that are not me, you kind of like, who am I? Right? Because I believe this label. Acting exercises are a great way to do it because it's not changing you. You are still you. You're just in a scene.
That's a great approach. Low risk. Act it out, put yourself, lean into a little bit of discomfort. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? It's the person just
Nothing.
looks at you and says, "No, I don't want to talk to you," and you go, "Okay, well, I
Yeah.
didn't die. I
Yeah.
didn't die. I'm not abandoned by my family or friends. Life continues."
No pressure. And the beauty is you are the director and you are the actor. The director can decide shot 2, take 2, or go to a different place, or cut. We'll try it again. It's just a different, fun way to approach it without that extra pressure and discomfort that everybody else is going to put on us. Oh, really? You want to be a bodybuilder? Really? Have you seen yourself? Why don't you try to put down the donut, buddy? Like, that's what happens in the real world. People who love us discourage us the most. So no need to tell them. Just act it out.
Yeah, so good. Kind of fake it till you make it in a way. But it's an experiment. You take the pressure off yourself. But it's so interesting that it's often the people closest to us who put those boundaries and walls around us. It's like they build a little fence and go, "That's not for you. That's for other people." I mean, the number of people who's told me, like, laughed at me when I said, "Oh, I'm going to write books one day." Just laughed, like, "Yeah, okay, good luck with that." And you go, I mean, for me, it gave me extra fuel because it's like, I'm going to prove that I will actually do it. But it's interesting. Why do you think it is? Do you think that there's a tall poppy syndrome, or people just don't believe in themselves, so they apply that to their loved ones?
We all see life through our own eyes. We all see life through our own eyes. I have achieved certain transformation, therefore I believe anything is possible.
Yeah.
You have achieved some transformation, and therefore you believe everything is possible. Well, he has never achieved anything really hard. For whatever reason, we're not here to judge. But for whatever reason, this person has been unable to accomplish something really hard. Let's just say lose 5 pounds, lose 10 pounds. There's so many people who start at the beginning of the year, right? How many people are able to actually lose the weight past January?
Yeah.
Right? Most people, statistics show they go on a diet, they gain it all back.
Yeah.
So this person has been living the last 10 years trying to lose 10 pounds, just getting heavier every year. You're sitting here looking just like him in terms of weight and saying, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Why shouldn't that person think you're crazy? Why shouldn't that person think you're arrogant? Oh, really? You think it's that easy? They are playing the story in their head. I have been trying for 10 years and I couldn't lose 10 pounds, right? So I don't believe that people are malicious. I don't believe that their intentions are wrong, at least not a majority of them. It's just that I like to say it this way, like in real life, do you wear glasses? Do you have contacts or glasses?
Yeah.
You do, right? And you have a very specific prescription.
I do, yeah.
And yeah, right? So, and let's say I have a very specific prescription. Like my prescription is meant for me to see clearly.
Yes.
Your prescription is meant for you to see clearly. What happens if we switch glasses? It's not going to work.
No.
Exactly. So I live life having seen life through my set of experiences. That's my prescription. You've lived life seeing life through your set of experience, your prescription. And therefore, we will never agree on certain things. And that's what's happening with my friend here, my family member here. That doesn't mean they don't love me. It doesn't mean they don't support me, even though it might come off that way. But I've just learned to understand, and I would say this, they just got different glasses than me. That's okay.
That's a good point. And sometimes you need to be the inspiration for others. I mean, to let them challenge their own self-limiting beliefs. Like, wow, if Mark could do that, maybe I could do it as well. I mean, this is a service to the world, really, setting an example. Someone's got to put themselves through discomfort to test what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, and again, it's about honesty. I'm not coming on this podcast and telling you, Brad, I had this dream where Angel Gabriel came and told me you have immense strength, like King Arthur, and you can do this thing. And then I just got this rage and energy within me, and I started running 15 miles a day. Dude, I'm not saying that because it's not true. But a lot of the stories that you hear about the heroes are just like that. And I'm not saying they're lying, but I am not that. So a lot of times it's not the fact that we have accomplished something great that is inspiring. It's the other person feeling like, oh, wow, like if he can do it, I can do it. Because unlike the person I saw on Instagram who pretends to be just eating liver meat, Liver King, right? And I can't do that.
Yeah.
Well, Mark is eating regular people food, so maybe I can. But it's that honesty. We can spin any stories we want, especially when we accomplish something. But how many of us are truly honest? Because it's human nature sometimes. I think that when we have something, I think there's a weird psychological thing that we don't want others to have it. So I've seen a lot of people, I've worked with a lot of people. I knew you when you were at that spot, and you did a lot of work and you got here. But now you're like telling people like lies. You're making it more mystical. Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Be truthful.
Truthful. Any advice for someone who's dealing with some setbacks? They've got a goal, they're working towards it, and it's so typical for many solopreneurs and people just in the starting phase of their company. And you encounter some obstacles, and many do give up. Most small businesses don't succeed. Any tips from a coaching perspective for overcoming adversities?
I mean, there could be so many things that could be the reason why they're not succeeding. But the most common reason I see people not succeeding, just not in business place, in any arena of life, is because their goals are too big. It's not like I need to lose 1 pound a week. That's not sexy. I got to lose 5 pounds a week. Well, it's unachievable. So you might do it the first week by not eating and drinking. But guess what? Biology will kick in and they'll force you to eat. Right? It's not good enough to say, you know what? I'm just going to find a way to make 3 sales calls today. I got to find 3 people to talk to. Could be my friend, could be my neighbor, could be a random lead. I am going to commit myself to making 3 phone calls a day, period. And then after that, you say, okay, 3 phone calls a day for 6 more days. No, that's not good enough. No. How can that be? I got to make 50 calls a day today. Well, you're not going to succeed. Right. So understanding there are 3 types of goal: short-term goal, medium goal, and long-term goal. You got to have a big long-term goal. You got to have a huge long-term goal. My long-term goal wasn't to just lose 20 pounds. It was to get on a bodybuilding stage and win. Okay. That's the big goal. Then you got to have a medium goal. The medium goal always has to be around discipline and consistency. Okay. And it feeds upon your small goal. So the smallest goal you have is actually the most important goal, and why people fail. They can't even get to 2 or 3 because 1 is wrong. So if I have clearly calculated and said, if I do XYZ, which I think I can do XYZ, I can lose 1 pound a week. Let me test it for first week. It worked. That was my small goal. Now I'm going to convert it to medium goal. Now my medium goal is to just lose 1 pound a week for 4 weeks. See, the scale got bigger, but the goal didn't change. But I now have lost 4 pounds instead of 1 pound. So now you start questioning, okay, can I lose 1.5 pounds a week? That becomes now your new small goal. Right? But it's this incremental, this 1%, it's not technically mathematically 1%. I have a degree in math. I'll be crucified for saying that. But I think metaphorically you get it, right? That is the slow incremental goal. And then at some point you're like, I'm too much out of my system. Let me track back. I revert back. In computer, we revert back to the previously stable environment. Right. Before the upgrade went, you undo the upgrades and it goes back to normal. So the newest goal, maybe it was 1.7 pounds a week. I'm having trouble. Let's go back to 1.6. I've been doing 1.6 for 3 weeks. I can do that.
Yeah, you got it.
And there you go. And that's how. So if you're in business, maybe you don't have a short-term goal. Maybe your short-term goal and medium goal are confused. Or maybe it's too big. So you've got to look at what is it that I'm working on right now? Is it actually of value? And how is it bringing me closer to the goal? A lot of problems that I see with clients also with goal setting is that they have fantastic goals. It just doesn't make them any money. Right? So the goals are not aligned to get them the result. So in this weight loss analogy, my goal is to, feel really good in my skin, and I want to wear good workout clothes. So you do all this research and you buy all these workout clothes. That's wonderful. It's not helping you lose weight. So your goal of like looking good is great, and you feel good, and it really feels smooth on your skin, and it's dry fit and doesn't get sweaty, and that's all wonderful, but it didn't really actually help you lose weight.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs are spending their time and energy on doing the things that don't take them closer to the goal. So identification, breaking it down into 3 categories. We can do miracles with just that.
That's so interesting. A whole other conversation, maybe for another time, is how to find product market fit. And someone with your perspective of technology, especially for SaaS platforms, which I'm sure you work with, and the sales process, in a nutshell, any tips for achieving that product market fit? Or is it really just listen to your customers, listen to what they need?
It's research. It's just that. People are endlessly creating products that nobody needs. People don't buy products because we help understand them. People buy products because it makes them feel understood. People buy products because it makes them feel understood. And the only way the end customer feels understood is if you have done the research to understand what they need.
Mm-hmm.
People buy Apple computers and Apple phones because they feel that they're understood by the company because they're an artist. And they need the freedom. And they need this and that. Mm-hmm. Apple has done marketing research and realized Apple's not going after your regular tech junkie who's building PCs for gaming. That's not their client. That client is already served by Windows people. So Apple has done research and say, there is this entire segment of people who are artists, who are not techies, but have talent and are underserved. Let's create a product that makes them feel understood, because currently they're underserved. That is the reason why Apple still exists while so many computer companies have gone in the past, here and there, right? Product market fit starts with product that fits into a market. But unless you know the market, you'll never understand what product to create. It's just that. And for that, you need obsession. You need to be obsessed with the client, the ideal client avatar. You need to know exactly what they're thinking. Like I always say, it's not my job to hear what you say. It's my job to know what you're thinking. It's just that. So when I'm talking to a client, when I'm talking to a prospect, because I coach on sales calls, I will listen to sales calls that are recorded. And the client, the prospect is saying something, and the salesperson is talking about something different. Because this person is just not feeling understood. In 4 minutes, the person never going to buy. How do you know that? How do you know what objection? This is going to be the objection. Because you're not paying attention. You need obsession. You need that obsession to want to help. And whatever market you're going after, that obsession will give you the ability to really suck out what is truly needed. And then we can talk about creating a product.
I love it. Such clear advice. For people out there who are interested in finding out more about your course and your coaching services, what would you like them to do?
You can find me at www.prosperitym, as in mark.com. I have waitlists for my courses, so you can get there. You can also find me on YouTube, Mark Talukdar. I started a new Instagram channel just about fitness because it's a hobby. I'm building towards a different type of a business. When it started, it was about wealth and entrepreneurship and freedom. And at some point, I realized none of that matters when you don't have health. So now I'm expanding the business into health and wealth, defining it as the good life. Because I don't know why this wasn't obvious to me in my life many years ago. If you think about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Once you have achieved the basic things, and you have roof and all the stuff, at some point, health and self-actualization kicks in. So for business coaching, sales, all of that, prosperitym.com. And I'm just started to build this health thing, and I'm having fun with it. I want to see where it goes. I'm obsessed with my ideal client, which is go-getting entrepreneurs, people who feel trapped. And if I can give tools for you to feel good physically, that kind of feeds into your entrepreneurial energy and vice versa.
I love it. I'm inspired. I might sign up for your course, Mark. It sounds fantastic. So thank you for your time and energy today. What a pleasure. I look forward to staying connected as we both embark on our journeys. Any final thoughts for those that stuck with us all the way to the end?
Just listen to your heart. Sometimes we overcomplicate things and we use too much logic sometimes. I think the best gift that we need to have as humans was given to us by nature, by God, by universe, whatever you say, when you were young, and it's the power to dream. When we were kids, we dream of all these things. And then the older we get, logic kicks in and we just start saying that, this is not possible and that is not possible, right? So keep that inner child alive. Don't think too much, want things, dream of things, and then let's use a certain process to go get it.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it so much. And thank you all for tuning in. I hope you found lots of value. Please do click the links in the show notes to connect with Mark, and we'll see you in the next episode.